This is the artificial intelligence voice of Chris Williamson narrating this pod-slice summary of the Modern Wisdom podcast. Chris Williamson begins the conversation by asking Jim Kwik about his perspective on modern people's cognition, particularly whether our brains are broken due to the current technology-dense era. Kwik relates to the feeling of being broken due to his childhood traumatic brain injury and subsequent learning difficulties. He maintains that our minds, rather than being broken, are under assault from technology, which amplifies common issues like distraction, forgetfulness, and information overload. According to Kwik, globally, people are struggling with forgetfulness and maintaining focus due to the information deluge our brains continuously battle. Equating it to taking a sip from a fire hose, he emphasizes the difficulty of keeping up in an age where data multiplication is exponential. The conversation pivots to Williamson's experience as a podcast host, who continually consumes information as part of his job. He expresses how this constant consumption often leads to unwanted distractions, almost like habituated ADHD, which induces unnecessary task switching. In this digital age, Kwik asserts that mental agility is highly valued compared to physical strength, emphasizing the importance of learning, unlearning, and relearning. He discusses the transition from simpler times as hunter-gatherers to present-day knowledge sprinters. The pair discussed that the human brain hasn't had time to evolve to deal with the onslaught of distractions from constant app notifications and social media alerts. Kwik advocates for a personal brain upgrade and believes that enhancing brain functionality is crucial to cope with the constant inflow of information. He states, a lot of people also don't know enough about their brain. It's not really taught in school. There's no owner's manual. Hence, the conversation also highlights the effect of chronic stress on the human brain, underscoring the importance of having coping mechanisms to deal with it. Kwik illustrates the impact of acute fear and stress on performance through some real-life examples, including Williamson's live show experience, where performance anxiety resulted in a temporary inability to access familiar stories. Both Kwik and Williamson agree that fear and stress can significantly impact overall performance, and maintaining mental equilibrium is crucial to thrive in today's fast-paced, data-intensive society. In this part of the conversation, Jim Kwik delves into his struggles as a child after a traumatic brain injury severely affected his learning abilities. Despite these challenges, he notes that with challenge comes change, adding that adversity often becomes strengths. Sharing about his early years, he talks about his aversion to public speaking due to his learning difficulties. He further highlights his discomfort and fear during group reading sessions during his school years, and how these experiences filled him with dread, leading him to choose invisibility as his superpower. Jim discusses the paradox of his journey as he now thrives in the very areas that once amplified his insecurities. He highlights how the adversity people face can become their advantage, drawing connections with the hero's journey concept presented by Joseph Campbell. He ambitiously wants to help people realize that they are the protagonists of their respective stories, and they are responsible for overcoming their battles and emerging victorious. Jim also talks about the uneasies that people entertain about learning. The traditional mindset that geniuses are born is a lie that he is keen on debunking. Instead, he asserts that genius can be developed through training, dedication, and deep work. A significant portion of YouTuber Chris Williamson's narrative is dedicated to discussing the journey of individuals who achieve outstanding feats, accentuating that they too are human with their own set of flaws, vulnerabilities, and insecurities. The conversation then leads to comic books, and Jim starts discussing how he taught himself to read with them. He says that the stories of superheroes inspired him, especially because many of them had faced adversity early in their lives. And he urged the understanding that the choices we make between birth and death amdi, as explained in a quote, he refers to play a significant role in determining the trajectory of our lives. The discussion moves to the importance of holding oneself accountable for choices. According to Jim, we are not thermometers reacting to our environment, but thermostats that can set our environment to help us thrive. He believes that if people understood they were responsible for their lives, they would find the energy and determination to overcome their adverse situations. Lastly, understanding that our world largely reflects our choices can be an empowering realization. He ends by emphasizing the need to disrupt dispirited routines, especially to counter nihilistic tendencies. and to remember that everyone has agency over their life, both intellectually and experientially. Jim Kwik highlights several thought-provoking ideas about learning, memory, and the power of responsibility. His conversation with host Chris Williamson shares a story about his meeting with Stan Lee, the co-creator of numerous Marvel superheroes, reinforcing the concept that with great power comes great responsibility. Jim flips this phrase on its head by saying, with great responsibility comes great power. He emphasizes that taking personal responsibility enables us to make positive changes in our life. Discussing the power of mindset, Jim dispels a critical of lie people often buy into. People often label themselves as having poor memory, a limitation that he insists we don't have to accept. Instead, he believes our minds are like supercomputers, and our internal dialogues are programs that run on this computer. If we tell ourselves we can't remember something, we're programming ourselves to forget. On asserts, if people truly understand how powerful their minds were, they wouldn't say, think or feel something they didn't want to be true. As the conversation moves into a discussion about how memory works, he outlines 3 stages: encoding, storage, and retrieval, using a combination of neuroscience, neuronutrition, adult learning theory, and ancient wisdom. He explains methods to improve memory, including the use of memory palaces. He raises awareness about the importance of our learning environment to memory and suggests ways we can anchor memory to specific contexts or even smells. He illustrates his memory techniques using the example of practicing a TEDx talk. He recommends turning the information into images, given our natural inclination towards visual learning. Jim emphasizes information plus emotion becomes long-term memory. This implies that when we couple the information we need to remember with vivid visualization and strong emotion, we significantly enhance our recall abilities. One powerful concept he introduces is learning with the intention to teach, referred to as explanation effect. This transforms our focus, makes us ask more questions, encourages us to take better notes, and ultimately helps us understand the topic on a deeper level. This, in fact, exemplifies an active approach to learning, which, as Jim suggests, is far more effective than passive consumption of information. Jim asserts that learning should not be a process of mental accumulation, but indeed a springboard for application and tangible change in our lives. As Jim Kwik navigates through his metaphorical home, he continues to expand on the keys to unlocking a limitless brain. Arriving at the stovetop, he shares an idea he picked up from Dr. Daniel Amen. That's killing ants, an acronym for automatic negative thoughts that emphasizes the importance of mental control and positivity. Can you effectively manage and reduce negative self-talk? This question prompts us to examine our thoughts and gives us the power to change our realities. Moving on to the refrigerator, the discussion turns to exercise, a crucial aspect of brain health. Jim underscores the benefits of both cardiovascular and strength training, which range from decreasing inflammation and insulin resistance to increasing the release of brain-benefiting neurotransmitters and the growth of new brain cells. The advice is not to simply sit for long periods, but strive for movement throughout the day. Because as Jim puts it, when your body moves, your brain grooves. He invites listeners to rate themselves from 0 to 10 on how often they are moving. Next, at the dishwasher, he raises the topic of supplements. While Jim prefers to obtain nutrients from food, he acknowledges that supplements can sometimes help fill the gap. For instance, if you're not ingesting enough eggs or soybeans, you might be lacking sufficient choline, a vital nutrient for brain health, facilitating the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. Similarly, if individuals lack access to quality fish, they could consider omega-3 fatty acid supplements, specifically a component of the brain that is key for memory and healthy brain function. As an interesting side note, Jim mentions a study from Oxford University that found juggling could improve brain health by creating more white matter. He encourages listeners to take time for activities that stimulate the brain in novel ways, comparing it to how children learn by exploring their surroundings. Neurons that fire together wire together, says Jim, further emphasizing that memory is not just about repeated exposure, but also active retrieval. This concept of cognitive inertia reinforces the idea that continuous mental engagement and teaching others can significantly boost your learning and understanding. And this continuation from the metaphorical journey through various rooms of the house. Host Chris Williamson and guest Jim Kwik explore the power of supplements, along with the benefits of a positive social network on mental health. These topics demonstrate innovative links between physical activity, nutrition, mental health, and social interactions. The discourse begins with Williamson offering some personal experiences with supplements and nootropics. He mentions a new drink which contains cognizin, form of choline derivative that aids memory, panics ginseng to reduce stress-induced fatigue, and natural caffeine. And this concoction had apparently allowed him to keep a grueling schedule of several podcast recordings. He proposes that mental performance enhancers play a significant role in boosting cognitive functionality, agreeing with Kwik's suggestion that omega-3s and choline supplements can be an alternative source of nutrients in absence of certain foods. Kwik then shifts the discussion towards the study of brain supplements and nootropics, outlining specific examples, such as vitamin B and magnesium, both critical for overall brain health. An interesting reference is made to Leonion's main mushroom, known for its nerve protective effects and potential to enhance cognition. Next, returning to Kwik's symbolic portrayal, they discuss the laundry segment of Kwik's home, demonstrating its association with cleaning up our environments and its impact on our brain. The discourse then advances to the subject of the social environment. Citing research, Kwik suggests that having a positive peer network can have considerable benefits for our brains, given our natural tendency to imitate those around us. A characteristic facilitated by neurons called mirror neurons, drawing attention to the behavioral aspects that tend to be mirrored within social networks. Kwik emphasizes the importance of surrounding ourselves with individuals who can inspire, challenge, encourage, and prompt self-improvement. He asserts that learning is not a solo process, reiterating the value of book clubs, accountability partners, and workout buddies in fostering both a positive environment and cognitive growth. In summary, this segment focuses on the supplementation of nutrients for brain health and the salience of consuming them in the right amount, while highlighting the impacts of social interaction and cognitive stimulation on the brain. In sum and substance, Kwik's metaphorical allegory explores practical, everyday elements that can lead to a better understanding, and hence a better utilization of our brains. In this part of the discussion, Chris Williamson and Jim Kwik dive into deeper aspects of establishing a conducive external environment for cognitive functioning, emphasizing the significance of a clean space. He indicates that our external world mirrors our internal mind, suggesting that a tidy physical environment can foster mental clarity. He highlights the importance of having an organized workspace, mentioning how exposure to neurotoxins in our environment, such as those found in certain furniture or carpeting, can negatively affect cognitive function. He also notes the relevance of ensuring clean air and light sources that don't cause visual fatigue, which can lead to mental exhaustion. Beside physical cleanliness, the conversation expands into the importance of maintaining a positive and productive mental environment. Kwik introduces the concept of mirror neurons, explaining how these specific neurons in our brains cause us to imitate the behaviors of those around us. Consequently, being in a positive social environment can have a significant impact on our cognitive health and performance. He affirms that learning is not a solo process, hence surrounding ourselves with positive influences who challenge and inspire us can foster an environment that is conducive for cognitive growth and improvement. Moving towards the direct influence of the physical body on cognitive performance, the duo delve into the subject of sleep. Kwik shares his personal struggle with severe obstructive sleep apnea and how managing and optimizing his sleep profoundly improved his mental capacities. He even includes tips to enhance sleep quality, such as consuming no food or liquids 3 and 2 hours before bedtime respectively, and shunning electronic devices at least an hour prior to sleep. Switching gears, the specificity of environments for different tasks is given attention to. Both Chris and Kwik resonate on the concept that certain tasks are better performed in specific environments which prime us to accomplish the job. Chris shares how he utilizes different devices for different activities, causing a shift in his mental state depending on the device he uses. The next key point is the importance of new learnings for cognitive health. As Jim Kwik engagingly states, your mental muscles require novelty and nutrition. Referring to the study Aging with Grace, Kwik concludes with the notion that lifelong learning not only adds years to our life, but also life to our years. Chris Williamson and Jim Kwik explore more deep dive techniques on improving cognitive abilities, starting with an in-depth analysis of using visualization and feelings and storytelling for encoding information. They employ the concept of a home method where specific actions related to cognitive health are mentally assigned to different areas of one's home. For instance, the microwave becomes a symbol of consuming brain-boosting foods. The stovetop represents the elimination of negative self-talk, while the china cabinet reminds one to always protect the brain. Applying this method makes information retrieval easier and more fun. Next, they discuss recreational strategies, such as card counting done by casino players. However, they're keen to stress it's purely illustrative and not for actual implementation, as they assert it's illegal in certain jurisdictions. See, the conversation then moves on to how to cope with the information overload we face daily. They agree that discerning which information to retain is a key skill, emphasizing it's about remembering what interests you most, not about trying to recall everything. As Chris phrases it, the good seed chain line sticks. This way, your focus is driven naturally by interest, allocating it to things that genuinely resonate with you. Finally, they incorporate the theme of maintaining focus during tasks. Jim argues that if one is struggling to concentrate on reading, it might be due to reading too slowly. He suggests that our minds seek stimulation, and without it, they get easily distracted. Hence, increasing reading speed can help to retain attention and improve focus. Together, Williamson and Kwik hand out practical and effective cognitive advice, from environmental changes to reading speed, with the end goal of helping the listeners utilize their brains to their full potential. In this segment of the Modern Wisdom podcast, where Chris Williamson engages renowned brain performance expert Jim Kwik. Kwik's emphasis is on how everyone's brain works differently, which he illustrates through his unique brain animal model, a classification system that identifies 4 primary brain types. One, the model is an illustrative tool that merges various cognitive theories, intellectual styles, and personality dispositions, focusing on how individuals absorb and process information. Kwik's key takeaways for his audience are summarized in his code mnemonic, which implies cheetah owl, dolphin, and elephant brain types. Cheetah brainers are recognized for their quick decision-making and high adaptability, symbolizing individuals who leverage intuition and are inclined towards immediate response. The owls, conversely, are the methodical thinkers, priding themselves on analytical prowess and logical deduction. They excel in rigorous evaluation, requiring an environment that grants them the opportunity to dissect and ponder upon intricate details. The dolphins represent visionary and innovative individuals that spot patterns and generate creative ideas before others do. In the forward-thinking, always ready to embrace the novelty. The elephant symbolizes the empathetic, the ones who foster collaboration and other binding forces in social spaces. Play applies these archetypes in popular culture to illustrate how these brain types function. Like relating the characters Ross, Monica, Joey, and Phoebe and Friends to owls, elephants, cheetahs, and dolphins, respectively. He links this to the concept of cognitive diversity in the workplace and enforces the importance of understanding your own and others' cognitive styles for better communication, collaboration, and learning. Kwik also explores the notion of information processing, arguing that the speed of processing could impact focus. He proposes that by increasing one's reading speed, as an example, one can enhance their concentration level and comprehension. This thought opposes the common assumption that slower reading tends to imply better comprehension. And to wrap up, he underscores the theory of in focus equals comprehension equals retention. Hence, when learning, it is crucial to enhance the speed of processing to eliminate potential distractions, hone focus leading to better comprehension and thus improved cognitive capacity. Check out the full podcast by clicking the link in the description below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for listening to this podcast summary episode of the Pod Slice.